right, Christian. Yeah, can you take that up there? Yeah. Did you start that? Go up to the mic. Let's see. Okay, can we move up to this row so we can get rid of these?
Hey.
Hey. Grade that for us.
Just for the session.
The whole thing.
Intention of the series is to unleash your natural ability to cause and expand breakthroughs on demand. The intention of the session is to leave you being fearless in the face of breakdowns.
Did you grade the whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't even present. Sorry.
Yeah, I can talk slower.
That's quick. All right, sorry. Can you grade that one more time?
The intention of the series is to unleash your natural ability to cause and expand breakthroughs on demand. The intention of the session is to leave you being fearless in the face of breakdowns.
Beautiful. Awesome. Great. Thank you. All right, so the first thing we're going to start off with is sharing from the assignments. So, I know we touched on, the sharing, I think, was just such a powerful demonstration of the work that we did. But last session, when we declared a breakdown in the seminar, we declared that there's not anything wrong here. There's just some promises, broken agreements, and then we looked at the source of that, and they're very reasonable human beings, and they're valid reasons. Like, I can't call my mom because there's a fire. Kind of a valid reason. It's a valid reason. Totally valid. Just not consistent with what you're committed to, or your promise, or your promise to yourself. And then we declared a breakdown in the group. And I know if you weren't here last session, you could just kind of get the space of it that, okay, we declared a breakdown. We looked at the familiar way we deal with this. Well, what's familiar is I wait to say something, or I want to have something great to share. If I'm even going to raise my hand, okay, that's familiar. I do the assignment, kind of. I'll share with three. It says share with 3 people, so I share with my group. That counts as 3 people. Not quite the assignment, but I could kind of justify that. I should take out the kind of, but that's like the way it lives for us. So we declared a breakdown, and we looked at, okay, what could be possible? What could be possible? And we had, someone stand up and share who's never shared before. She really, moved things forward. It was pretty extraordinary. So, out of our assignment, there were 2 parts. The first part of the assignment was to work on and actually complete your integrity lists. And then the second part of the assignment was to stand in the possibility you created last session and take bold and audacious action. Take a bold and audacious action that brings a possibility to the area of life which your integrity has been out. So, we kind of touched on this a little bit, but I want to give somebody else an opportunity to share what happened for you. What did you discover? What breakthroughs did you cause? Or what actions did you take, even if there wasn't that a breakthrough like Jill's, if you're gonna, question yourself before you share it. Jill's is really good. Mine, I don't know. But we'd like to share. Let's hear from a couple people. Yes? Yeah. Come on
up. I called my grandma, and when I originally started this program, I wanted to be able to express more with my grandma and be honest with her. So I called her and I told her that I was gay for the first time, and it was actually a really good conversation.
Wow. And how long have you known that you've been gay and not told her? Or I don't know.
Since I was 26, I was honest with myself,
Okay.
and I'm about to be 29 now.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. And then you had all these reasons and justifications for don't call her? Like, what were some of the reasons?
I didn't have time,
Yeah,
or she was busy,
yeah.
or she's going to hate me.
She's going to hate you?
Yeah.
Why would she hate you?
She does not believe that being gay is real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So, and I had an inkling that that was true.
yeah.
But she was able to tell me, in the face of me saying that I'm gay, she was able to be honest and be like, I love you. I don't think that's real, but okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah. And it was a good conversation.
yeah. So great. And you could, I know you're sharing it quickly and it's straight to the point, and I love it. And I don't want to minimize what that took. Because we could go, okay, great, she told grandma that she's gay. Awesome. It's grandma, or whatever you want to, we could say about it. But you've got to get the world of a human being for 3 years not saying something that there is to say.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a big freaking deal.
Yeah.
And you can share about it like it really isn't a big deal, because right now it's really not a big deal. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I just told her and she said I love you and I don't believe that, and I believe in that. And I kind of expected that.
Yeah.
But that you got to now create this relationship with your grandma where your grandma gets to tell you she loves you. And there's now nothing hidden. There's no distance now. Grandma, I'm gay. There we are.
Yep.
Awesome.
Good.
Great. Thank you. All right, who else? Yeah. Janet. And let's see if we've got time for this.
Well, I don't know if it's a breakthrough or breakdown or both. But last time I got up here, I talked about my daughter. And I wouldn't say that there's any greatness that's happened there, but
Was that, were you over here? Was that
Yeah.
okay.
yeah,
Daughter doesn't like your cooking?
daughter doesn't like anything.
Yeah.
But I finally got up the courage last week to just tell her that I've been, that I need to restore integrity with her, and that I have been making her wrong. And so anyway, had that whole conversation with her, and she was just like, okay. And that was it. So that was like, yay, feel really great about that.
Yeah.
And then last night, I was gone all weekend, and I came back, and she had stayed home, and the house was completely cleaned. It was amazing. I just was like, wow.
Huh. Okay, so before that, what was the lack of integrity that you cleaned up with her?
Just in how,
You said I've been making you wrong?
yeah, and just how when she gets upset at me or something, instead of what I'm standing for and committed to with her is that we would have an open, connected relationship. And instead, when those things happen, I shut down and I pull away.
Yeah.
And so that's what I shared with her in that conversation, that I'm not being in alignment with what I'm committed to and how I'm treating you.
Yeah, awesome.
So,
House
yeah,
clean now.
house is clean, amazed at her. And she had been working on this project, this painting project, and she thought she was painting it black, but it was gray, a dark charcoal gray. And so she asked me to go and look at it, and I was like, so I did, and it's like, yeah, Coral, it's gray. And so she got so furious at me. And so my normal thing would be to shut down, just go away and leave her. And, but like what we had talked about, that you and I had talked about in that last conversation, was to be curious. And so it was like, Coral, I get that you just worked for 3 hours and that this is the wrong thing, I get that. But what's going on with your heart? And there's something more going on here. And she completely shut me down and pushed me out of her room and wouldn't talk to me. And still hasn't talked to me all day today.
Yeah.
But I was able to leave that
Yeah.
not feeling I'm a terrible mother and I'm not good enough and I can't do this, and you know, all the tapes that have normally played, I was able to just go, you know what? I kept trying to
Yeah.
extend and I kept trying to connect, and even this morning on the way to school, I asked her, "Is like, are you open and available to have the conversation?" And nope. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So, so I felt like that was a little bit of a breakthrough for me. That was being unreasonable for me. So,
Your familiar way is you shut down, you leave. And instead you said it sounds like there's something going on with your heart that's going on. Is that what you said?
yeah,
Or something like that?
yeah,
That's a whole new way of being there. You know, and one of the things that from this last weekend that, you know, I've kind of minimized or not really paying attention to is the practice that this work takes. You know, there's a quote that we had up. Maybe some of you have heard it before, but this is the seminar program here. It says, though the world does not change with a change of paradigm, the scientist afterward works in a different world.
Who said that?
I didn't put the name down, it's too on the right. You can look it up. Though the world does not change with a change of paradigm, the scientist afterward works in a different world. That's the Landmark Forum. Then you go out into life, daughter's still the same daughter. You're just a different scientist now, who's in a different world of, wow, there is really something possible here. You know, and the next piece of this is, look, this is the practice. We're in a seminar to practice. You're supposed to go and fail. And it's not a failure where you just fall flat on your face and then you're done. It's I took actions. I didn't get the desired result, but man, that's a breakthrough. That I didn't just leave, make my daughter wrong, and, you know, have all these, you know, like you said, the tape. I think that's a really good way. You have the tape playing, and instead of it being real, it just was a tape playing. You know, just awesome. Awesome. Great. Thank you. All right, we've got time. Yeah, Jason, you want to share?
Sure.
Cool.
That quote one more time, please.
Yes, search paradigm and scientists. Though the world does not change with a change of paradigm, the scientist afterward works in a different world. No. Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of sharing myself, and I noticed a lot of the phraseology that you've used where things happen with rapidity, where it's rapidly happening,
Yeah.
has definitely been the case, you know, like breakdown, breakthrough, breakdown, breakthrough.
Yeah.
And well, perfect example of that, I've got a few, but I'm going to kind of really talk about one in particular. But anyway, the first one was that when my wife came back from vacation, we had breakdown, breakthrough, breakdown, breakthrough all day long. And it was little things that we had not really discussed because she'd been, you know, proximal to me. Then when she went on vacation, she came back, suddenly those things had more urgency for both of us, and we worked through it. It was very difficult and headache-inducing, but we got there.
Yeah.
The other one was, I've told you all this before, that I got a job with a bank and been waiting on that. One of the sort of normal ways I would have handled the situation I had, which was that they were constantly having delay, is that I'd get frustrated, like, why are you people so incompetent? But this time I just let it go.
Yeah.
I know that this is a company that crosses multiple borders, you know, so I can't really hold them too accountable for that. I let myself not get angry about something that I normally would create a huge story for. But
Right.
the biggest breakthrough I had was, or breakdown and breakthrough, honestly it feels more like a breakdown, was with my mother. She called me and she's doing Landmark Forum, and
Like she was in the Landmark Forum?
she recently finished it.
Okay.
She recently finished it, and she was actually doing part of her course homework for the Wednesday night course. I don't remember what it's called, relationships, something of that matter. Anyway, and she was trying to locate the moment when we stopped being close, because we kind of lost contact for about 7 months.
Yeah.
And she said it was like 2 years ago. And yeah, that's true. Like we started having a breakdown in our relationship back then. But for me, the problem, and this is a point that I made, was to use the Landmark tool. And I said, I've been pretending that I trust you when in fact I haven't for my whole life, basically.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reasons for that. I
Yeah.
don't really know if it matters to get into that, but
It was not, but.
it was a really hard, I don't know any other word for it, but ugly conversation. And at the same time, I felt like for the first time in my life, I'd actually been honest with her, with where I was at emotionally,
Yeah.
why I didn't want to connect on that level with her.
Yeah.
But also, you know, going forward, that it kind of leaves open a lot more possibility
Yeah.
and a lot more honesty and authenticity, where I no longer feel like I have to hide my own desire, my own want, my own need, whatever that happens to be. But
Yeah.
it really very much felt like the anti-Jill conversation with her mom, because there wasn't a moment where I felt like, oh, right, we made a breakthrough. It just,
Right.
the whole thing felt like the walls falling
Yeah.
in and just really hard to deal with.
So when you said that, so one, it was a breakthrough because you said something that's been going on.
Yeah.
And then what's still incomplete? Is it that, okay, I said it, but I still don't trust her?
I think that's a lot of it for me, is
Yeah.
that it's maybe that I've redefined what that trust means, you know?
Okay.
Maybe that's what it is, more than that I don't trust her, because I trust her, you know, like watch my kids,
Sure.
that kind of stuff. It's not that I don't trust her at all.
Yeah.
It's that I don't trust her with like emotional, hard to talk about issues.
Okay.
So I think that was kind of what I figured out for myself.
Then is there something wrong if you can't have trust them with the emotional or hard to have conversation?
What do you mean when you say something wrong?
Because the way you speak about it is like she should be just so great, like you should be able to.
Yeah,
trust
no,
her.
there was very much that in my previous way of thinking, that I
Yeah.
should trust her, and then there's all these examples of why I can't,
Yeah.
because the stories, you
Yeah.
know. And that, after that conversation, it's like, well, no, I can trust her, I just have to,
You can trust her to pick you up from the airport and watch your kids.
right, redefine what that looks like to me. Like, I
Got it.
I don't
Okay.
have to be best buddies with everyone in my family.
So this is so good. Can we work with this?
Yeah, absolutely,
Because
please.
I want to work with this for everybody. Like, because this is so great. Like, there's a view, just take the case. There's a view of Jason's mom. And for everybody here, you want to pick your own person. And it's really good to go with your parents. You will discover, I mean, you want to take the case, you are incomplete with your parents. I don't care what calls you've had. They just had this conversation with the foreign leaders in December and then with the seminar leaders in January. And they all told us, we're asserting you're all incomplete with your parents. And we all laughed. It's like, oh, obviously we're not, because look how great we are. No, you are incomplete with your parents. You know, and I got with my parents that, no, there's a fixed way. Like, I got complete with them being, you know, kind of naggy, and, you know, my mom being kind of, you know, mentally weak, and, you know, like I had this. My dad, well, he's got multiple sclerosis, so he's not like all there anyway, so, you know, like past 6 o'clock, he's not really him, which like physically he's not like there as much. But I had it that I'm complete with them because I'm great with how they are. When I'm missing the whole point of, I think that they are a way. Like, how stupid is that? You know? They're not a certain way. I'm like, oh, I've had this story or this always listening about them. And I don't anymore. I'm so great. No, I am saying I'm great with how I think they are. Makes no sense. It makes no sense. Now, it really took something because I really had to dwell in this. Like, I wasn't getting it right away. I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm best friends with my mom. You know, when the Rockies were in the playoffs last year, I said, do you want to go down to Arizona and go to the game? She's like, sure. And like, I wanted to be with her. Like, I did have one friend that I wanted to go to the game with, but he was going to a wedding. So she was number 2. But I had her above anybody else. I was like, no, I would love to go to the game with my mom. Like, it was like a want, not a have to do or whatever. But to look at how you've now redefined your mom in a very like noble sounding way. You know, like, this is a good guy. Jason's a good guy. He doesn't have his views of his mom that he's had, but he can now really create a better way of dealing with her.
Yeah. Like a more realistic,
Yeah.
honest way of dealing with her. And a lot of that is,
But no, I'm not saying, I'm saying that that's the pitfall here.
oh, it's the pitfall.
It's
Okay.
the pitfall. Because it is, and like, we could have gotten bought off on that right there. Like, damn, Jason's a good guy. And I know I'm probably going to use profanity tonight, and I'm just going to scratch that for tonight. But, but that Jason, you have this view, and that's now an altered, okay, she's an okay kind of person view. You know, or I could create this and be like, you know, this noble guy. But what's the way that she really is for you?
What do you mean?
Like, how is your mom? Like, when you say, okay, my mom, I can trust her to pick up my kids, but she's just like this. Like, I can't have these emotionally, like, you know, what was the way you said it? Like, emotionally?
Like closer kind of, like from the heart kind of conversations.
Yeah.
I mean, really open with her.
Yeah, and you just can't.
Yeah.
You kind of have a little bit, but with how she is or your guys' relationship, that's just not possible.
Right.
And it's just kind of a fact.
Right.
You know, unless she changes some things, or hopefully this relationship seminar or whatever she's doing, hopefully she improves a little bit, and we can have those. It's probably something like that.
I mean, really, for me, it's just one word would summarize it, that she's gossipy.
She's gossipy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, like, I don't feel like I can trust my information with her. It's like
Yeah.
giving my information to Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, like Cambridge Analytica now has it, and who knows who has it now. Like, I don't feel like I can just say, hey, I'm feeling like this about this particularly hard thing in my life.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, I don't know how else to say it, but there are moments when that feeling is reinforced. Like,
Yeah.
we're at dinner with my family, and she's gossiping about my aunt in a really
Yeah.
negative, open way to everybody. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just have a hard time being open with somebody like that,
Yeah.
personally.
Got it.
Yeah.
Totally got it. And it's valid, right? Totally valid. Now, I'm not saying that from this moment and prior, she has not been being gossipy.
Okay,
I'm not saying that she hasn't had quite a lot of moments of being gossipy.
sure, yeah.
But the way you're speaking about her is like she really is gossipy. You guys get that?
Yeah.
Like she really is, as a fact, this gossipy woman. You know, like, let's say I'm her.
Yes.
Probably look like her, right?
No, also,
But let's say I'm her. And you're looking at me, her. this gossipy skin bag. What's her name?
Judy.
Judy. Okay, or mom or mommy or whatever you call her.
I used to call her mommy.
Okay, so now I'm an adult, I'm a sophisticated adult. Now I'm
Right.
creating this new context of my mom.
Mother, yes.
Yeah. All right, so mom, gossipy, and then what else? How else is she?
How else is she? Judgy.
She's judgy.
Yeah.
Totally. So I'm this judgy, gossipy woman who happens to be your mom.
Yes.
Now show me gossipy.
Show you.
Yeah.
But you're
So
her.
I'm her. I'm
You're
her.
Okay, okay.
I'm your mom.
Uh-huh.
Show me gossipy on me. Point to it.
Point to it. Yeah, I'd point to your mouth.
My mouth. Okay, my mouth is gossipy. Okay, okay. This is so good. The mouth, so it's not here, it's not here, it's not here, it's right here,
Right there.
gossipy.
Yep, the whole.
Like the lips or
The whole thing.
The whole
tongue, the
thing.
teeth, the lips.
It's gossipy.
Yeah,
This is gossipy.
yeah.
Gossipy. Like this is, in reality, this is gossipy.
Right, yes.
Okay, so obviously we see that's absurd, right? No? Or is this mouth really gossipy?
Here's the honest to God truth. I don't feel like it's absurd. Like, there's a part of me that's like, yeah, that totally.
I totally get that.
Tate would solve that, right? Like, I feel like that tells you that the mouth is the gossip hole. Of
Okay.
Yeah.
The gossip hole. This is so great. Oh my God. Now, and we could even, this is so good. And for you, again, you got, I know this is funny, so it's like, let's just go with Jason's, but you got to use your own examples, because I promise you have something. It might be somebody's heart, like somebody, like where's Jana? Yeah, like there's something with your daughter's heart. Or I know that may not even be the way you're speaking about it, but the way we speak about people is like there's really something with them. Like there's really something about Jason. We all have a picture of Jason. Whether we know him or not, or we know him from maybe a couple times that he shared and stuff like that, or you talk to him on the phone because he's a communicator. Like whatever your picture is of Jason, we all have a picture of Jason. A picture. Now there's, 60-some people in this room. We have 60-some different views of Jason. We just don't take the time to examine that this picture just maybe, just maybe, is not accurate. Or, better said, not in reality. And it is funny that we do look like, if I just taped up that mouth, Mom, no longer gossipy. Maybe judgy, because she can still have her thoughts and maybe some judgy thoughts, but she's no longer gossipy,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
And then where's the judgy? Where's the judgy exist?
I think the judgy exists within the confines of how the gossip occurs.
No. Point to.
Point to where the judgy
Yeah.
part is?
Yeah, I can't wait for this. This is good.
Oh, man. I would say maybe the brow.
The brow.
Like the
brow. God, that's so good. Oh, I thought you were gonna say brain, and I'm like,
No,
that would be easy one. But the brow.
When you tell somebody something and they give you that brow, the furrowed, like.
Okay. Oh my God, that's so good. Okay, so could this all be healed by plastic surgery?
Like what is it, the Botox, yeah, just
Botox.
deaden it with Botox. Just inject, from here to here,
Yeah.
just all the way across, just inject, yeah.
Okay, good. So, is it safe to say yet that you know that that's not real?
Yes,
Like there is no gossipy, there is no judgy with your mom?
sure,
Now she's had ways of being,
yes,
based on what you're saying, and she's a human being.
right,
But that she's been gossipy, she's been judgy, she
Yes.
has been that way. But you can't point to it in reality
no,
at all. Now, you might even try to go and dissect it and say, well, the words coming out of that mouth, those are gossipy.
right,
But to speed things along, that's just noises coming out of a mouth you are labeling as gossipy.
Yeah.
Get that?
Yes.
In the brow.
Yes.
Brow.
You do that well.
I've judged people from time to time. But are you starting to see that there's no reality? Like there's no basis to this picture of your mom.
Yeah. It's all story that I'm creating in my head.
Yeah. But, and not even to minimize that, because I know that sometimes we'll say, I know it's all story, you know, and or I know it's not that big of a deal, or it's all empty and meaningless, or blah, 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 blah. But you really got to pay attention to the words, because those words are what have screwed you up since you're 3 years old or 5 years old. We've added meaning, and we might be flippant about the words, like, oh, it's all a story, I know that. No, we don't live like as lived in your life, like it's a story. And you want to get that with your mom, as lived. You live like when she opens her mouth, she is gossipy.
Yes.
So much so that it has shaped your interactions with her.
Yes.
There are things I can't say to her, there are things I can say to her because of this picture of who I think she really is, that actually has no basis in reality. Has no basis in reality. Do you get that?
I do, and there's part of me that doesn't.
What's the part?
Past experience, you know.
Yeah.
My past experience says there's quite a bit of basis in reality on it.
Okay.
You know.
But let's look at that.
Okay.
Is there really? Like what's so there's been times that she has said things that we could call gossip.
Yeah.
There have been times that she has made a face or said something that is judgy.
Right. But that doesn't make her that, is what you're trying to say, right?
Well, of course I'm trying to say that, but this is for you to discover.
Right.
Like, you have to get this. Because maybe, just maybe, she's not this way. Maybe, just maybe, you have your own judgy picture of your mom.
Absolutely.
And not like you're a bad person. This is 60-some people in this room. We're all doing the same thing. We're even judging the conversation right now.
Yeah. Oh, I get that. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you just try it on, you know, let's have somebody else be your mom. Let's have a woman.
Okay.
A woman to stand up. Okay, Jill, get over here. Jill, all right, stay there. This is now your mom.
Ooh, whoa. She has the brow. Look at the brow. That is perfect.
Now, what if you could just get her, this is good. I didn't even ask for you to do that, this is good. What if there could be nothing but love here? But really,
It's judgy a little.
and I know it's funny, but stop with the funny so you could really,
Okay. What's wrong with like really?
no, but just be with each other here. Like, be with Jill as your mom, or she's your mom. Be with Jill like this is your mom right here. There is no gossipy. There's no gossipy in the mouth. There's no judge, no judgy. There's none of that. Can you point to any of that?
No.
Anything you're still hanging on to?
No.
Even though 5 minutes ago she just said something super judgmental and gossiped about somebody?
Oh, yeah, that's. I can get there, but I have to be very cognizant of
No,
it.
that's more bullshit.
Okay.
It is total, you don't have to be cognizant of anything. This is an in-the-moment discovery of a human being. I could be with Jill, I've had conversations with Jill, I've got a picture of Jill, but I could set that aside and just be with somebody and be in the presence of love. An extraordinary human being. An extraordinary human being. But really, this is the magic of this. And you get to do this with your mom. And complete a past that is killing you. And this is the other thing, incomplete with your parents, there's a whole world on the other side of this. Like a whole world of being in action with stand-up comedy. And you're hanging on to your mom like she is this fixed way of being, and she's not. But you can't take my word for it. I would ask you to take my word like it's a fact, but you gotta go discover this on your own. And give up all of that, and you'll have to continue to give it up. You know, I got this with my parents, and I went and shared it with my parents. And then a few days later, there's more evidence of like, oh, God, that was it. That was it.
Yeah, I think that's what I kind of am going through, because I felt like
No, you haven't been
complete with my mom after
Yeah.
the seminar, after
The forum.
forum.
Yep,
It was breathtaking, and it was
Yep.
mind-blowing.
yep.
And then I'm like, wow, we're in a different place, but it's still not where I want to be.
Exactly. How many people you've had that experience? You completed something and then it just came right back. See, you gotta know, you gotta trust yourself that you can complete that. Now, this is just the next level. You know, this is just another cut of, oh, there's just more stuff here that I think is the truth.
Yeah.
Maybe I could try it on as a discovery rather than having her as an is, or even like how I had being complete with my parents, that was an is. Like, is meaning I am complete with my parents. Thinking, I've done all the work. Game over. What's next? Check that one off. Maybe every day I could be in the presence of wonder, of, okay, maybe I've got a picture of somebody. Got a picture of myself. Oh, their parents are easier to complete with than mine. You don't know my mom. Look at her mouth. Look at that eyebrow. The eyebrow is judgy. That mouth is gossipy. Like, and I so appreciate the looking, like the real looking, not just like trying to say the right answer or like, oh, I know it's just a story, but like really looking. Like, no, her mouth
Yeah.
really occurs for me like gossipy woman.
Yeah.
What are you seeing so far?
Like all the shields that I just put up were
Yeah.
really just excuses
Mm-hmm.
for why I don't want to move forward,
Yeah.
and making her wrong in a lot of ways.
It's easy.
Yeah, it
It's the
is.
familiar.
Yeah. And at the same time, knowing that I can move beyond that and feeling
Yeah.
like it's not, like, because I had this hard conversation with her earlier,
Yeah.
I feel like it's now I can put it away
Right.
and move to the next step, and it can be a much kinder, more honest place,
Yeah.
and not have to feel like there's this thing I haven't really addressed.
Right.
And I can just be in my presence of my mother, and she's an amazing human being who was very patient with me for the most part, and did an awesome job raising
No,
me.
now you're killing it. Now you're killing it. This is what I want you to do. Just
Okay.
come be with Jill, and I want you to come over here.
Okay.
And I know some of you have done the advanced course. It's being exercise. Just be with Jill, creating her as your mom. And I want you to just practice being in the presence of love. You'll have something. Okay, this is Jill. It's not my mom. Okay, set that aside. Create her as your mom. Okay, there's that mouth. There's that gossipy mouth. You set that aside until you can just be in the presence of love. All right? And all of us, we get to be with, pull for this. Jill.
Say something?
Mom.
Or
No, just be with her.
be in the presence.
Yeah.
Like that exercise we just stare.
Yeah,
Okay.
be in the presence. This is a human being here. Be in the presence of, oh my God, maybe I don't know who this woman is who raised me for X number of years. Maybe, just maybe, she's an extraordinary human being. possible here. What are you present to right now?
Nothing between all that stuff I said about the mouth and the brow, there's none
Yeah,
of that.
yeah.
Nothing in between us.
Yeah. And you can do that. Awesome, Jason. Awesome. You know, and I just want to highlight, I just so appreciate the work, like that, the work it takes. You know, and this is, you'll hear it at the beginning of probably a lot of courses at Landmark, but the work is counterintuitive. Now, when I hear counterintuitive, I think like they're gonna say, wow, it's really possible to have that relationship with your mom and or whatever, and I go, okay, I don't quite see it now, but I can see that happening. No, counterintuitive is whatever gets created, it occurs for you as, no, that's just not accurate. That's just not accurate in my world. Like, no, my mom really is this way. Or you're saying I could have anything for myself in my life. Or you read something on the board and you go, no, doesn't make sense. I get you guys say that, but no, that's just not how it is. No, this board is very counterintuitive. Until you're in that discovery of it. You know, or maybe something up here is counterintuitive, or something that gets said. It occurs like it's not real. But when there's that practice and the rigor, that's when you could start to discover. Really, like a discovery. Oh my God. You guys get that? Yeah, Julio.
Just make a comment. I think Jason's group,
Sure.
different qualities of that I told the group.
Yeah.
One thing that helped me to connect to people was, and I learned that from my brother who connected to me first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a step that he's skipping, and we tend to skip, which is getting ownership of all the things that happen in the relationship and not expect the other to construct their side of the bridge.
Yeah.
My brother did that to me.
Yeah.
And when I realized that a lot of things that I did in my life, I realized that it was much more in my head. It became not important what happened. No matter what has happened, it became completely unimportant to me.
Yeah.
What made me cut the relationship
Yeah.
to my brothers and my siblings, it became out of the place. But for that, the process that happened to me as a breakthrough was that I got the ownership of everything. Because my brother, when he connected to me, he said, Julio, I'm calling you, I don't want you to say anything, I just want to tell you I'm getting 100% of everything what's wrong. I'm getting me, I'm not expecting you to recognize anything. And this was very powerful. So I think that if you can go to that point, then you can do those connections. It's so difficult because it's very easy to say, okay, but he did that. And I interpret him like that. So, and if you tell the person that you react to what you read from the person in the past, you bring the responsibility to that person. And the big thing is when you don't want to justify yourself. You just want to say, I got 100% of this,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Beautiful. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, just real quick, just
Yeah.
ask a question. So, during that exercise,
Yeah.
does he need to have a conversation with his mom to make that right, or is that something that he needs to work on that? And so I asked if my father's passed
Yeah.
away, so do I, have a conversation with God, or, right, exactly. So is that,
I don't know.
is that internal?
Look, all of magic's gonna be in the sharing. Now, you may not need to go and spill all this crap with them. You know, like what I created with my dad, I had judgments, that he gave up on life. And he settled for a shit job. Now, I'm not gonna milk the cussing tonight. But that's how it was for me, is I gave up. He settled. And he had a job he hated. And I had that like it was a reality based on my own assessments of what I think is right in the world. And I saw that that's completely arrogant. I saw the man that he was. He was a guy who put my sister and me number one. He never missed a day of work. I don't remember a single day of work that he missed. He was just a committed guy, pays his bills on time. He's just he's successful. Like, this is everything he wanted. That's everything he wanted. And he accomplished it. And I created that piece of it with him. I said, I saw something about you. I saw the man you really are. And when I had called him, did I share this with you guys? I think I shared some of this. This was a couple weeks ago, and I had called him and said, I saw him Monday before one of our sessions. I didn't share with him because I don't want to cry right now. It's the morning and I'm doing work, so I'm not going to share with him. And I saw later, like, I sold out on myself. And anyway, I shared with him later. I called him. It was after the session. Called, and he's in the car with my mom. They're on the Bluetooth, and I'm sharing this with my dad, and my mom had to jump in after I shared that, and she said, I think you just made your father's day. And he can't say anything right now. But that's what I wanted him to be left with. And if there was, being a jerk or something that you think needs to get said to complete that, then, go ahead. But there's no right way to get this done, but a powerful access is sharing. Share with your mom. Yeah, Chad?
So I'm kind of big on Jason's example.
Yeah.
Since, like Georgie just asked, does he share this with his mom, or does he trust her enough to share something with her where if she does gossip, learns from that? Or, because I know that there's probably something he wants to share with her, does he put himself out there to share that, to let her kind of take it the way she wants to?
Let's ask you, will you come up and say, what do you see?
I think for me, when you say that, the thing that I am open to is to share completely with her and address if gossip is an issue in the future, rather than assume that it's going to be a problem and then take half measures. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think that in my mind, it makes more sense to trust fully,
Yeah.
clean slate,
Yeah.
and assume the best of
Yeah.
what can possibly come from it.
Yeah.
And knowing that, a relationship has been a little rocky in recent years, like,
Yeah.
I think that she will hold what I tell her like a precious gem. She
Yeah.
won't just,
And that's all created. I mean, you could create it as that.
yeah.
And like there's people that I don't trust, but I could love them 100%. I'm not going to loan them money. I'm not going to ask them to pick me up from the airport. Not going to hire them. But I could love them. I could be with them. I could have nothing in the way. And I think that's great. There's a new relationship. You're going to take the relationship to the next level, and it may involve saying, I noticed, I don't speak fully with you because I'm concerned you're going to go tell people. And I think you've done that in the past, or you've done that a couple times, and I have nothing about it now. It's making you wrong a couple days ago. But I have nothing about it. You can say whatever you want to say, or I'll just ask you and just take your word for it, or whatever gets created. You know, but there now doesn't have to be that constraint. You get that? So, awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, last time.
So the person that came to mind for me in this example was my organization.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if the distinction between the being and the is applies to organizations as a whole.
I would think so. What's the is that this organization is? Or I think the better way is, like, how is this impacting you? Because you don't have to go now look at, like, Google a company and go, what's my is about this company? And, you know, and that's no access to you living a powerful life or being free to be, free to act. But if there's an is that is constraining you, that doesn't have you left free to be and free to act, that's what I would look at.
Yeah, so it's the organization I work in,
Yeah.
and there's just so many layers everywhere that my efforts to create possibilities inside of it
Yeah.
seem futile,
Totally.
right? Because like,
You're a scientist in a world of, that's a different world.
yeah.
It takes something. And I don't know all the right ways or, you know, how it's going to happen or what could happen or how long, if this is a 10-year deal or a 2-year deal or this is just one conversation with one person that can alter it, but this is the practice now of looking, of like really doing the looking, not coming to a conclusion that it's not possible or that there's something wrong here, or the people are wrong. But maybe, what if I took some actions? You know, what if I did see something that wasn't workable here? That I know I can make a difference with? You know, because that's the human being you are now.
Thanks.
Yeah, awesome. All right, let's acknowledge people. Okay, so regarding the assignments, just you want to share with the person next to you and have 2 minutes each and share from, and Andrew, will you make sure everybody's got a partner? But share what you got out of either these conversations or from taking on both of those assignments. If you didn't do the assignment, share what you're now discovering, and then we'll give you 2 minutes each.